Good afternoon and welcome to the Sustainable Materials Management Webinar Series, a joint effort between the National Recycling Coalition and the Pennsylvania Recycling Market Center. My name is Wayne Bowen and I'm the Program Manager for the Market Center and will serve as your moderator today. We would like to extend a special thanks to Bob Hollis of the Mobius Network for providing the webinar management software for this series, and Lisa Ruggiero and Laura Flagg of the National Recycling Coalition for assisting the RMC with webinar promotion and technical support. Today's webinar focus is on carpet recycling. Following this presentation, we will conduct a question and answer session. If you have a question or comment, please use the GoToWebinar dialog box located in the control panel on your screen. You may also use the dialog box to request assistance if you're experiencing technical difficulties during the webinar. Please note that an edited version of this webinar will be made available for viewing via YouTube links on the National Recycling Coalition and Pennsylvania Recycling Market Center websites. And now I'd like to introduce our presenter. Anthony Cline, Director of Operations for the Carpet America Recovery Effort, or CARE, has currently been with the organization for 5 years. He resides in Tunnel Hill, Georgia, where he is heavily engaged in the Rotary and Keep America Beautiful. Anthony holds a Bachelor of Business Administration and Marketing Systems and Bachelor of Business Administration and Operations Management from Dalton State University. He also holds a Master's of Science in Operations Management from the University of Arkansas. Okay, Anthony, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present CARE, some of our activities involved in carpet recycling, some of the things we're doing, who we are, and various programs that we manage. So let's get to it. A brief agenda here. We'll start out with answering the question, who is CARE? Who are our various stakeholders that came together that formed the organization? A brief intro to carpet recycling. I know that many of you are carpet recycling veterans, but some of you may be novices. So, we'll have a brief overview of some of the activities involved in carpet collection, sortation, and processing. The 2014 CARE survey results, we'll discuss those after our introduction to carpet recycling. A new program that we instituted this year called the Voluntary Product Stewardship Program that is to fund the collection, sortation, and shipment of material to processors. The CARE annual conference that took place in May. And then we'll have a brief update on the California legislation that CARE is an approved stewardship organization of. So who is CARE? Well, the mission of CARE is to advance market-based solutions. These solutions increase landfill diversion and recycling. They encourage the design for recyclability and meet the meaningful goals as approved by the CARE Board of Directors. The mission says it all, but I wanted to talk about the inception of CARE. How were we formed? Why were we formed? Well, in the late 90s, discussions began between various stakeholders. They saw that carpet in landfill was becoming an issue. It was a bulky problem. It was something that many manufacturers were seeing pressure from. Those who were involved in recycling the material, it was in its infancy at the time. There needed to be support, there needed to be some meaningful goals, there needed to be something to work for in a collaborative effort if there were hopes to expand the infrastructure and expand the interest and activity in carpet recycling. So in the late 1990s, discussions began. Well, these discussions turned into negotiations. And in 2002, CARE was born. The Memorandum of Understanding was drafted. The Memorandum of Understanding included meaningful goals that carpet recycling would hope to achieve. Excuse me, I'm getting an echo. Could someone please mute your phone? Well, thank you very much. And out of the Memorandum of Understanding and these goals, it was decided there needs to be an organization to oversee this initiative. And out of that, CARE was born. Our stakeholder group consisted of carpet manufacturers, carpet recyclers, NGOs, and state participation. So for something like this to happen and occur with the various differences in the stakeholders is very impressive in and of itself. And keep in mind that in 2002, we're starting out with a blank sheet of paper. We had nothing. We had, excuse me, very small activity in regards to carpet recycling in the U.S. And you know, we've worked hard since our inception to increase the network and increase the amount of material that's being recycled today. It's estimated that 3.5 billion pounds of old carpets destined for the landfill each year. And as I alluded to earlier, this is not only a bulky problem, but there's also an issue with putting valuable materials into the ground, such as your nylon. This is a valuable material that's extracted from the carpet that takes many natural resources to produce. So if you can recycle this material, not only are you having a greater impact on the environment, you're also creating jobs and providing some flexibility in regards to material that can be used in products. So let's move on to the carpet recycling process. And I like to use this diagram when I'm giving this presentation because I think it really lays out the process of carpet recycling from the point of collection to the finished product. So your point of collection, you have maybe a trailer that's dropped off at a strategic location, a carpet installer, a carpet dealer, a waste hauler, or a transfer station. Well, that material has been collected in a trailer for the most part. Then it's taken to a sortation facility. Once it's taken to the facility, it's separated by ID type and then cut to size, baled, and shipped to what we call a first level processor. And as I mentioned earlier, the most valuable component of the carpet is the face fiber. And in layman's term, the face fiber is what you see when you enter your home or what you're walking on. So this face fiber is usually sheared, or a shredding application is used to separate the backing from the face fiber, or a hammer mill application. Now, a hammer mill is just not as common anymore. Right now, the most common processing technology is shredding. It's also probably the most efficient of the three as well. So once this material is extracted, the valuable components are extracted. And I forgot to mention the polymerization. That's something that the folks at Shaw are currently engaged in and do a wonderful job and can certainly laud their commitment to sustainability and recycling. Then after the material is processed, it's sent to a manufacturer. This manufacturer will include it in a variety of applications, whether it's pelletized, put into a carpet fiber, injection molding, or maybe a carpet cushion. So getting a little more specific, what does the collector do? As we alluded to earlier, the collection strategies where a trailer is set at a strategic location, they collect and then bring it back to their facility and sort it by fiber type, and then it's cut to size and then baled and then shipped to someone who's going to process it. And sometimes it's processed in-house. It's certainly not always the case, but some processors do collect the material as well. So I've included a few pictures. On your left, you can see a carpet installer bringing material into a collection facility. On your right, you can see a trailer that's brought back to a collection facility. This is all co-mingled waste here. This hasn't been separated by fiber type. So the next step of the process is on your left-hand side, you see the co-mingled waste in the trailer. And on the right-hand side, you see material that's sorted, whether that be by a nylon or a polyester or a polypropylene. Some of the things that you need to get started, the barriers to entry of any company are always something to take in consideration when you're wanting to enter a business. You absolutely have to keep the carpet dry and out of the weather. It's almost impossible to process. It is impossible to process if the material gets wet. You'll need a baler, and I know that many of you on the call here are very familiar with that. We won't get into that. And a fiber analyzer, which is really the only thing that's going to kind of stick out in regards to carpet collection. This is what tells you what the fiber type is. It's a spectrometer that you put to the face fiber. It then tells you whether it's a nylon 6 product, a nylon 6/6 product, or a polyester. And then, of course, other things that you may expect to see, your Bobcat, you know, logistics cost, and freight. This is another diagram I like to use. I think this is a good representation of some of the products that are made from post-consumer carpets, whether it be in the plastics industry or whether that be in you know, the fiber. You could also see the carpet cushion and the carpet there in the middle. These slides will be available, by the way, on the website, and we'll also have these posted to the CARE website as well if you'd like to visit them later. Okay, now that you have a reasonable understanding of the process of carpet recycling, we'll get into our 2014 survey results. We'll be posting these to the website very soon, so please make sure to check back with the CARE website for our annual report. These are very preliminary results at this point. These are not official, but these are very close to what we'll be reporting in our annual report. Also want to include that we have our annual reports since our inception in 2002 that are available online at carpetrecovery.org. If I could direct your attention to the bottom, it's something that we're proud of and something that we continue to work towards, is our pounds collected. And we've collected 3.7 billion pounds since the inception of CARE in 2002. And if you can look, we're certainly making progress. But what I want to point out right here is the last 2 years. Now, there was a great jump in the last 2 years, in 2013 and 2014, and that's because we switched methodologies. Now, in years past, we would simply send out the survey, called the annual survey, to our collectors' processors and simply ask them, well, how much material did you collect? How much material did you send to landfill? How much do you send to a processor? Well, we sat back and we thought, maybe we're not getting, maybe we're not getting the most correct information. Well, these guys who are bringing material in, who may have some waste involved, they're not always weighing the material. So we need to focus on their outputs rather than their inputs. So we adopted a mass balance approach in regards to our counting. And this will be visible here in this next slide. So gross collections of 494 million for 2014. Okay, well that 494 million enters the system. So of that 494 million, 223 million went back to the landfill because it was material that couldn't be used in an application, or it was material that may have gotten wet or damaged. Waste to energy was 41 million pounds. Cast cement kiln was 113 million pounds, and there was nothing sent to incineration. But 115 million pounds of the 494 million pounds was recycled and reused, resulting in a 23% yield. And I'll leave this up for a couple of minutes, and we may have some questions about that later that I'd be happy to address. Okay, guys, moving on. And again, these are preliminary results. These are our outputs from the gross collections. The gross collections is basically, what we've intercepted from the landfill. And so once they've entered the system, what we call the carpet recycling system, collection and processing. So what happens to it? Well, 45% ended up in the landfill. 23% was recycled. And then kiln and cap accounted for 23%, and then 8% accounted for waste to energy. And 0.4% were reused, and that's typically carpet tile that's reused. As you can see, our recycled numbers did decrease this year, and that was due to a lot of factors. The fluctuation in the oil prices, other macroeconomic issues certainly had their impact. When your companies are engaged in China, the restrictions and the green fence and the longshoremen strike certainly have an impact on the amount of material that you're able to recycle and the material you're actually able to ship. So at the end of the day, there were some macroeconomic factors that we couldn't control that caused the decrease of material that was recycled. So given the fact that there are some macroeconomic issues, and given the fact that the carpet recycling industry may not be as strong as we'd like to see it be, there were discussions about a program that could assist carpet recyclers until market conditions improved. And out of that was born a voluntary product stewardship program. It was something that had been in the making for a number of months, something that had been planned for a number of months and worked upon. It's a voluntary nationwide program, and it supports carpet sorting network and hopes to increase the amount of post-consumer carpet diverted from landfills. Now, one thing that CARE has always done an excellent job with is listening to its entrepreneurs. These guys are the ones who are on the front line. They have their heart and soul invested in this. A lot of sweat equity and financial equity as well. So CARE conducted one of its annual entrepreneur meetings, and that's a meeting that's designed specifically for entrepreneurs, where we're able to get the business owners together and discuss some issues that they may be facing with their business. And at the end of the meeting, we always like to have some time for an entrepreneurs-only session, where they can all talk amongst themselves about some issues, maybe share some best practices. So out of that, there came a frustration about some material that may not be able to be recycled in the waste stream. Now, it's very important for an organization like CARE that focuses on market-based approaches for the carpet manufacturing and the carpet recycling industry to be healthy. And as an organization that promotes market-based solutions, we take the organic approach to growing an industry. So the parties came together, the entrepreneurs and the carpet manufacturers, in a partnership to look for some solutions. How can we help the carpet recycling industry, get over this hump, improve market conditions, and expand their current business and expand the current infrastructure that we have in the United States. And a subsidy program was developed and was implemented at the beginning of the year. The program objectives are listed here, and I apologize for such a busy slide, but this is important information. The program maintains a competitive carpet flooring industry that's both sustainable and viable. They support market-driven solutions as opposed to EPR types of legislation. The program is funded through voluntary contributions from the Carpet and Rug Institute. $4.5 million has been committed for the initial year of the program, and it is expected to have a 2-year term. That could be longer, or it could sunset as objectives are achieved. We did complete our first quarter of reporting at the end of March. 60 participants requested funds for the first quarter of 2014 in the program. 67 originally signed up for the program. So we had an 89.5% response rate. Total output eligible for funding for the first quarter was 76 million pounds. Total output overall was 93 million pounds, with 2.5 million pounds of inventory and about 15 million pounds that was landfilled. So here's the table. It also kind of represents our payout structure as well. So if you ship material inside of the U.S., you ship and sell the material inside of the U.S., you get 2 cents per pound. Shipped internationally, 2 cents per pound, or reused as 2 cents per pound. Anything sent to a waste-to-energy, pyrolysis, a cement kiln, or CAF, carpet as an alternative fuel application, receives 1 cent per pound. So this is in regards to pounds of output, 76,152,000 pounds. I've included this on graphical form as well, and please excuse my my graph. My range kind of got thrown off by the shipped inside of the U.S., but it's a good representation of where the material is going. Oops, I'm not sure what happened there. My apologies. It's a good representation of where the material is going. Most of it being, of course, shipped inside of the U.S. and there's the waste energy as well. This is our current care collection network. As you can see, we have some challenges in the population, the less population dense areas. But we hope to expand that in the future, and we hope to attract more business owners and entrepreneurs into the collection and processing of carpet. This is a map straight off of our website as well, so if you'd like to find a recycler or processor in your area, please don't hesitate to visit carpetrecovery.org and check that out. Moving on to our CARE annual conference. This took place in New Orleans, Louisiana in May. We had 140 attendees. We had topics ranging from the BPS program update, which you've just heard, economic and housing outlooks, climate change, alternative fuel, some workshops for recyclers and entrepreneurs, and some best practices as well. So it was great to get everyone together, and it's always wonderful for the entrepreneurs in regards to networking, and hopefully a lot of material was moved at our conference this year. The presentations are also available on the CARE website at carpetrecovery.org. CARE Person of the Year, as you can see on the left, Dr. Robert Peoples, our Executive Director, presenting Fred Williamson in the middle with the CARE Person of the Year. On your right-hand side is Thomas Holland, who had won Person of the Year in 2013. So congratulations to Fred. He's a wonderful board member and a very important part of what we do, and it's very valuable to StarNet as well. Candace and Tiva won Recycler of the Year. Wonderful work that they're doing in regards to recycling their carpet tile. When Candace brings in their carpet tile, they're actually able to, apologies again. When Candace brings in their carpet tile, they're actually able to use all of the material into their product. So very happy about what they're doing, and hopefully they can expand their operations very soon. Okay, moving to our California program. A little bit of background. The state of California passed carpet stewardship legislation in 2012 and would be implemented. That CARE would be a carpet stewardship organization that would oversee the program. It includes a 10 cent per square yard assessment. This has been recently changed. It was formerly 5 cents per square yard. and CARE saw that the goals that it wanted to achieve couldn't be achieved at that rate, so the assessment was increased. It is required to be included on the sales receipt as an after-tax line item. And these incentives are paid, unlike the voluntary product stewardship program that incentivizes collectors. This program incentivizes processors based on the pounds of output. You can also check out the annual reports for California on the CARE website as well. Some changes recently. Brendan Jensen joined the California team as the program manager last year. Lisa Mikas joined the CARE team in April of this year as a senior associate. CalRecycle approved the increased assessment to 10 cents per square yard from 5 cents per square yard in January 2015. The rollout for the increased assessment went very well on April 1st of 2015. And there's some other macroeconomic factors that I referred to earlier, the California longshoreman slowdown, container fee increase, along with the variations in the oil prices and the green fence in China certainly had their impact and had a negative impact on our output. And as you can see by our trend lines here, we started the program in Q3 of 2011, and you can kind of track, but then our economic factors hit, and things were negatively impacted. But the new programs and funding mechanisms that CARE's put into place, we assure will increase these numbers. Also wanted to include information about our new product catalog. We like to showcase some of the things that our manufacturers and processors are doing with their material. You can find that online. Anything from soil erosion materials to carpet filler, carpet padding, carpet fiber, things like that. Plastics that use post-consumer carpet content, they can all be found in our product catalog. CARE continues to grow and evolve. As it takes on more responsibility, more programs, it becomes more sophisticated. CARE grows from a $5 to a $10 million organization to a $15 million organization in 2015. And if you think that, where we were in 2002 when we started, it was a blank piece of paper. That's impressive to say the least. But we have some challenges ahead. We're absolutely committed to facing these challenges head on and becoming successful. And we want to develop a carpet recycling industry that's both viable and sustainable and profitable for our entrepreneurs and our members. So if you'd like additional information on CARE and some of its activities, please visit our website at carpetrecovery.org. You can see it on the left-hand side there, or you can follow us on Twitter at Carpet Recycle. And there is my contact information. And Wayne's going to be posting the slides to the website. My apologies for the technical issues that we had with my computer here, but I certainly hope that this webinar was worth your time and that you found a lot of value and have a little bit more interest in carpet recycling in general. So with that, Wayne, I guess I'll give it back to you here.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Really great presentation. We're going to leave your contact information up for a little bit, but in a couple of minutes, could you please go back to slide 21? There was some people I wanted to see that again.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not sure if I have issues.
Okay, we do have some questions already, but if you do have a question, please use the GoToWebinar dialog box on your computer. So I'm going to pose the first question here to Anthony. Isn't it true that some of the processors do not want the carpet collected delivered in bales, but rather prefer that the carpet simply be packaged into closed trailers for delivery to the plant?
Well, that depends. That certainly depends on the processor. Some processors do want baled materials, but some processors actually sort on site. So that's going to depend on the processor. So that would be an accurate statement that some do not want bales. They just rather have the material there, so they could sort site separate it. So it really just depends on the processor at that point.
Okay, this is a similar question having to do with the fiber type identifier. Some processors don't require it; they'll just accept everything commingled, and some feel it's not necessary for that piece of equipment. It's accepted commingled. So
that's correct. As I mentioned earlier, some processors actually separate the material. They have the fiber analyzers and all the equipment and the staff there to do that. And then some will require it to be separated prior to arriving to the facility and failed.
Okay.
So there's some variation in business models there and processing styles. So.
Okay. Concerning the wet and damaged or perhaps soiled carpeting, as long as it's dry, can it be recycled? Something from storm damage or flooding or
no.
Animals.
No, not at that point. The value of the material after it's been through storm damage or flooding, the value just decreases, because every time you recycle something, you lose virgin properties. And even when it's gone through that type of strain, there's very little value in the material, unfortunately, and it's best to put that into the landfill.
Okay. Is there an opportunity for rebate for the carpet material, or does the cost to process outweigh any rebate available? If it is a rebate possible, what volume per month would a location need to produce for them to obtain a rebate for the material?
Wayne, could you please repeat that question? I apologize.
It had to do with are rebates available? For example, if I bring a load of carpet into a facility, do they pay for it, or is there a tip fee? And if there are rebates, or is it tied to volume?
Not at this point. We incentivize those involved in the collection activity, meaning those entrepreneurs that have a collection business set up that bring material into their facility and separate it. And then in California, we incentivize those to process the material. So at this point, there aren't rebates available. Now, I know that some states are looking into this activity, but I don't know of anything concrete as of yet.
Okay, this question has to do with cherry picking the most recyclable fibers like nylon at the source, while avoiding carpet likely to go to the landfill in order to reduce costs and increase efficiency.
That cherry picking is not something that CARE supports. We believe that, sure, it's unfortunate that there's a lot of material that's not usable, but there are other people out there that are doing this the right way, and CARE does not support or condone cherry picking material.
This attendee wants to know what factors cause an almost 50% drop in recycled carpet in the latter years.
Well, there is change. I think it goes to the change in consumer demand for carpet. With the change in the consumer demand, the polyester fiber was preferred. When you walk into your Home Depot and you're buying carpet, and you see something at the right price point at the right color, it's great, because you're able to purchase this product to compete with hardwood. It's a good product. Well, unfortunately, at the end of its life, there's not a lot of solutions for it. So here on one side, you have your increase of the polyester fiber that can't be recycled, but at the same time, it's just a manufacturer that's answering to a consumer demand, which is what you do in business in the capitalist society. Well, unfortunately, the increase in polyester into the waste stream and the macroeconomic factors that I talked about earlier with the fluctuation in the oil prices and the recent decrease in demand for some of the recycled material has made things a little tough, and it's called for a decrease in the amount of material that's recycled.
Okay.
And it's one of the things, that's why we've instituted the Voluntary Product Stewardship Program, and that's why we made the necessary changes to the California AB 2398 program to improve our effectiveness and the health of the industry.
Okay. Do carpet recycling facilities accept carpet panels from vehicles for recycling?
That's going to be a location by location. Most people that I know of do not, but that's going to be a question that you have to ask each individual business because each one of our collectors collects different things, but at this point I know that the majority of those guys do not.
Are there any other programs in the country besides California?
Not at this point. We do have some voluntary programs in place as well. The folks in South Carolina are doing a fantastic job. It's not a government mandated assessment fee. It's a voluntary program. It's a partnership that they have with CARE and the partnership that they have with their waste haulers and their recyclers in the state. There's some emerging relationships that we're trying to foster with states like Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, who are starting to offer some incentive programs and want to focus on a voluntary approach.
Okay, this question has to do with the funding opportunities. Could you maybe go over that program again? And are there any funding? Is funding available for any local recycling programs?
Well, sure. And as I mentioned, we have two different programs. We have the national program that we use to incentivize collectors, and then we have our California programs for those who are in California or process material. Now, the national program pays by the following. If you bring materials to your facility, you separate it by fiber type, and then you prepare it and then bale it and then ship it out to a processor. If that's shipped inside of the United States, you receive 2 cents per pound as a subsidy at the end of the quarter. At the same time, you have to be approved by CARE. You have to be willing to follow the CARE Code of Ethics, agree to auditing procedures, things of that nature. But there is some relief. If you would like to start collecting and you would like to be involved in the VPS program, then please use my contact information and contact me. I'd love to talk to you at length about what you need to do to get started and some of the parameters of the VPS program.
Okay, and the slide you showed the collection network in the country. I assume that information is on your website also. The contact information.
Yes, we actually have a very nice interactive map. So you can. I'm trying to find this slide here. Yeah, right there. You could actually type in your zip code, and you'll be able to find the recycler or the collector in your area.
This question says, with only 23% of recovered carpet being recycled, what is CARE working on to increase recycling rates and/or research and development to recycle pet carpet?
Well, I think that our biggest opportunity right now is looking into end markets because you can throw all types of money at a program when you think about recycling, but if you don't have end markets and you don't have sustainable end markets, then you just have an elongated trip to the landfill. So some of the things that CARE is working on now, we've hired someone that manages our polyester initiative on a part-time basis. Dr. Peoples and myself are currently looking for options on a daily basis. There are some things that are in the works now. Nothing that we think will scale at this point, But I'll also mention that we released $500,000 university grant to the state of to UConn, University of Connecticut, earlier this year. So we've got some irons in the fire, if you will, but innovation takes time, and unfortunately, that's the current state that we're in.
Okay. I apologize. I'm screening some of the questions here.
Sure, no problem.
So slide 24 says shipped inside U.S. Does this mean it could have been landfilled or sent to waste to energy in another state?
No. If it's shipped to waste to energy, you would receive 1 cent per pound. But if it's shipped to landfill, we will not cover anything shipped to landfill. This is shipped to a processor to qualify for 2 cents per pound.
Okay, this person is from a reuse organization, and they're asking if there's any possible involvement with reuse organizations to try and reuse materials prior to recycling process. And they say they work with organizations and attempt to get reusable carpet squares specifically.
Well, we would absolutely love to discuss some potential options with those guys in the future. If they could contact me, it'd be greatly appreciated.
And just clarification, the funding available, would that be available to government organizations?
No.
No, it's private.
That's correct. We're trying to foster private ownership and entrepreneurship with the BPS program.
This question, has CARE ever considered partnering with other interior finished materials to increase recycling overall for the building industry?
We have, and we've had some talks with a few companies actually, especially in regards to deck boarding. But we would be receptive and very interested to speak with anyone in regards to that. We're always looking for outlets and end markets.
Okay. Here's a question. Yes, the question is, will transcript of the Q&A be available? Yes, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to hear the Q&A session as part of this
Great.
recording. And this question has to do with the type of fibers. Some carpet fibers are not recyclable. Are the manufacturers working on making their carpet more recyclable using polymers that can be converted back into another product?
I will defer to new technology that the carpet manufacturers are working on. I mean, the carpet manufacturers, many of them are very, very committed to recycling and reuse. And I'll just mention Shaw's recent investment into the new facility in Ringgold, Georgia, that's going to be able to process different polymer types. So, yes, there's investment by the carpet manufacturers out there to recycle the material and make the material more sustainable.
Okay, here's what I'm not sure you can answer it, but they're asking, what are the economic drivers associated with using recycled versus virgin material in carpet?
Well, the biggest driver is the oil price, of course, because carpet being a petroleum-based substance, when the oil price drops, the price of virgin material drops. And we all know in business that when your material prices drop, you're going to prefer that over recycled material. So for us, lower oil prices is not always the best thing. Higher oil prices results in a higher cost of virgin material, which means our recycled material is going to be preferable because it can be sold at a lower price point. So the biggest economic driver is going to be the oil price for us. And I think it's also fair to include transportation costs and things of that nature.
Okay, I think that's all we have. Again, great presentation, Anthony, and good Q&A session. Again, this webinar, like all the webinars in this series, have been recorded and will be made available via YouTube links on both the National Recycling Coalition and Recycling Market Center websites. And of course, you saw Anthony's contact information. Feel free to contact him with any follow-up questions. I hope this does promote more recycling in the carpet industry and building of more programs. So thank you again for joining us. We hope you'll join us for next month's webinar. Please visit the NRC and RMC websites for schedule updates. And again, thank you, Anthony, for making this presentation. And have a great day, everybody.